All right, everybody, just had to share this out on Twitch. Well, not Twitch. Discord and stuff. 1 second. We're about to be live. Smash that like button. And here we are. I have appeared out of crazy thin air. The power of the internet is allowing me to come to you today and turn down my music at the same time. That's way too loud music. You gotta get out of here, Brody. You gotta get out of here, buddy. We're going live. We gotta talk Star Trek. We can't do that with you filling our ears with nonsense. Go away. Know your place. And know your role. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to you, depending on where you are in this beautiful blue marble that we happen to inhabit together, as we're going to talk some Star Trek Fleet Command, as I'm sitting here just casually letting bounty hunters blow up against my Burrell, because why not? What else would I have to do? It's Sunday. Definitely the easiest day in the world for Star Trek. Absolutely nothing to be done at all. And actually, Cliff right now, Stream Raider, says not. Just too many things going on at once. I do have a fancy cup. That's nice, though. The texture is really cool. You can't see the color of my drink. Now you just left kind of curious. What's in the glass? What's in there? He's stirring it. What could it be? I don't know. Tangy. Let's get some shout outs to some of the people who are already here. Well, really happy to say that we got, people already on the Facebook page. If you are watching on Facebook or anywhere, please share this out. If you got any groups that might be interested, Reddit pages, Twitters, we'll talk about it all. And shout out to Adam, who's there, I think, so far. See, we've also got Alicia, Marcin, Tom, Robert, David, Cliff, Danny, Shane, Philip, Andrew, Thomas, Ed, Tom, Ryan, Simpliva, Dominique, Sasquatch, Bill, Buddy, John, Jonathan, Doyle, and a lot of other people. Shout out to all your servers, by the way. 12, 169, 28, 57, 161, 159, 26, 20. Lots of them. And I'm sure now that we made a comment, more are going to just pour out of the woodworks. And you know what? I think we're here for that. I think it's probably the entire reason that we're here. So it's all right. Bring it on. 42, 57, 60. 12. We'll just shout them out when we see them, I guess. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Hope everybody is having a wonderful weekend so far. You know, I know it's close to ending, but that doesn't mean that it has to end completely. It can still be fun, still be here. You know, we're having a good time, just a little bit. And if you would be so kind, share this out also on your server. One thing I really try to start doing on Sundays is I like focusing in on officers and trying to help all players, whether you're a new player on server 65 or if you're an old player on server 17 and you just need some help, you just want some love, we're here for you. Shout out to 139, 7, 47, 8, 11, 64, more and more. We'll keep rolling in. So let's kind of start with, and Sunday night we kind of leave to like a topic of choice to you, the fan, so y'all really get to pick what we end up discussing. I would say that I have no necessarily preference tonight. I usually love to talk officers. Obviously, everybody's mind is on the new arc. I do have to say, and I would really like y'all to agree that we should give a big hand clap and a thank you to the Overlords for this past week. Not only did you get Apex, which we are running right now, but you also got Faction Hunt to go along with Crucible of War. So you fit 3, you got a full Faction Hunt. So if you like doing Faction Hunt, it was there. No tickets. You could do it all. And then you could also do your full-on Apex runs, which are nice. I'm actually going to be working on those tonight during the stream. And then, of course, Crucible of War, which has for a long time been one of my favorite events. Eric says, how do you tell what server you're on? The easiest way is to honestly ask in your general chat. Usually somebody knows. The non-simple answer is to put your device in airplane mode, which will cause a connection error. When that connection error forms, there will be a little note at the bottom of the screen that says, like a link. It'll list which server you're on and also at the top right. I don't want to do it right now because obviously we're streaming, but yeah, it's definitely not that difficult to do. And if you really want to know, we can definitely find out for you and help you out. On our Discord, I'm proud to say that we've got people from basically every server in the galaxy. We've got APAC, EU, US. I'm pretty sure every US server is in fact on my Discord, and I know a lot of the EU and APACs are. So yeah, but to the easiest way without worrying about airplane modes or anything is just generally ask in your global chat, and somebody's probably going to know. Or you're going to find a troll who lies to you and tells you that you're like on server 343. So oh man, what's the difference between? Oh, we're not even doing that, Tom. Nice. We're not doing that though. How do you even tell what server you're on? We just did that. Wow, I'm starting off the edition strong. Starting off really strong. Rip. It's been a long day. Good day, but long day. Hey, Badbot, how you doing? Is it worth trying to get the Stella skin, Opus, or save directives for tomorrow? Ooh, good question. So I would say that both the Stella skin and the I'm just going through random things right now for no reason. I would say that both the Vidar and the Stella skin are very, very useful, very good. I recommend going after them if you can. If you're worried about your bracket being too full, then maybe hold back a little bit. Do remember that you do have an arc starting in 2 days, and that arc could, once again, Dennis says they're U.S., not Americans. Basically, they're America. But they are the Americas, though. So I realize that there's mostly U.S. players, but anything to do with the America, like Brazil, South America, well, Brazil's in South America, Mexico, those are all in the U.S. servers, so they're North American servers. But anyway, I think that choosing to save, it's you go off kind of how events have been. And before anybody asks, no, I do not have the event calendar yet for the entire month of August. But if you've looked, we've got a lot of the different Armada events lately. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm simply saying that if you want to prepare for that and be mindful that that's how we've been doing it the past couple months, there's no reason to believe that's going to change. I mean, you have to tend to think that you're going to get more of that. And if you're getting more, well, then we should probably work on that by preparing for it, saving our directives, using the Crucible of War currencies that we got to turn in to get more Armada directives, which is what I did. And that way you can prepare for those type of events that come out. So yeah, shout out to Brazil. Yeah, it's not just the U.S., it's everywhere. Contrary to what most of my fellow Americans think, the world does not revolve around us. Zakara says, do you think the Enterprise D is coming this arc or maybe last arc? I would say that it makes the most sense for it to come the last arc, but it could come. We do know it's coming as a ship. It's not just something that's been rumor milled or anything, and I think we've confirmed that for some time. I would say that logically, because you just got a ship this arc, and even though the ship that you just got had nothing to do with the Next Generation, you did just procure a new ship, and generally you would leave that. I mean, if that is the magnum opus of this arc, is the Enterprise D, you would typically leave that to the end. At the same time, maybe they have a 2-month type plan there where you get the Enterprise D and then this entire 2-month swing of events, which would make a lot of sense because you get time to hopefully get it. We'll see how that ends up. I've told y'all when I talked to them months ago what I wanted them to try to develop the ship as, and they said that some of those thoughts were good and that they would consider it, and that they weren't 100% shows. Yeah, David, I mean, that's been that way for a while. They weren't 100% certain on how they were going to actually to deploy the Enterprise D. Now, obviously, that has been decided since then, but it's something to still watch as we continue to, in my opinion, have the smoothest arc run in a while. I don't know if I'm ready to say that's the best arc that we've ever had, but I will say that as a whole, it's been the least buggiest and has provided the most updates in quite some time. Now, we can definitely debate the quality of the arc because that's going to be opinion. But in terms of the performance and the rollout of the TNG, it has been pretty smooth compared to what we've had in the past, where there have been times where updates would come out and you would literally lose the game for one time. We lost it for an entire day on a couple servers, almost an entire day. So I would say there's been a pretty smooth one with lots of features. Now, if you don't like all those features, that's fine. But it's been pretty smooth overall. And hey, Noah Shaw, how you doing, buddy? Is there a way for Scopa to add Jayla shards to the officers pool? I mean, yeah, Martian, there's a way. Will they? Get back to you on that. Now, you do still have the chance if you run these armadas. So if you run the Franklin A armadas, right here. The leader still has a chance to proc and in the rewards get those beautiful shards. Still kind of, that's not real officer sourcing. That's not real. Just how like Lorca is available in the Armada chest for 40 plus. That's not real officer sourcing. And I don't think anybody would agree that it is. No one shall. Good to see that you're doing good, buddy. Andrew says, that's a lie. The world does revolve in the USA. Yes, the sun does as well. And Alpha Centauri is being renamed to the United States of Alpha Centauri. And it's just going to be, we have the entire planet. They're just giving it all to the US, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Hey, Craig, how you doing, buddy? Let's see. Oh, I got to stop the lameness and we got to get into the deep conversations of the chat. Fjolden says, I think releasing it in the upcoming art makes sense. Otherwise, they'll have an Enterprise D plus an event store at the same time. Good point. Fair. And I will say that one of the hints that DJ put out would point towards that. But I'd say this. That hint seemed mighty obvious. But there was a hint that did seem to point in the direction that the Enterprise D could be coming this month. And if it does, well, we'll hopefully get some nice spicy videos up for all of y'all. And I'm sure No One Shall is preparing for that as well. So it's something to keep your eye out on. The only worry I think we all share with the Enterprise D is going to be level and procurement. How do you get the Enterprise D? And what level do you have to be to do it? Is it going to be something that just becomes a ridiculous paywall? Or is it going to be something that they actually scale, as what I recommended, and they scale it to where everybody has a chance of going after it at some fashion? Even if you're stuck with a tier 1 one, you've still got the Enterprise D. You know, that's something that we're going to have to wait and figure out. Charles says level 60 ship. Oh, well, it's way to bring the depression in. Yay! Thank you for that. No One Shall makes room on the credit card. Hey, I respect that No One Shall is willing to dish it out, man. His budget's a lot bigger than me. And Scott says, do we need to do more CCG opening videos? We've been doing them more on Twitch. I actually do still have a box, but we can do that. But anyway, as far as the Enterprise D goes, I'm obviously looking forward to it as a tremendous fan of the franchise. And if you have been paying attention, as mentioned, you do have it in the store in terms of when you go and look at the store, you've got this very mislabeled Enterprise D. Nacelle armor upgrade? That's a deflector dish. Fun story, Scopely. That's not a nacelle or armor. It's a deflector dish. What? Anyway. So we know that it's coming. The question is when. And in doing so, how quickly will that open the door up to other things like the Enterprise E, the Defiant for Deep Space Nine, the Cardassian faction so many people have talked about. Be really, really interesting. And Mad Mel says, where in the game is that? So where that is sorry for the quick flips, that's actually in the Play Store. If you check the Play Store graphics, now also keep in mind that these graphics have been released to multiple websites to promote the game. There's ads showing off the Enterprise D in a very cinematic fashion, and we've covered those in videos. But this is actually sitting, and has been for weeks, in the App Store for both Apple and Google Play. This has been there, and you can just go and be like, hey, big old Enterprise D with the really stupid nacelle armor upgrade thingy. But anyway, point being, you know what's coming. You know that they weren't going to just put in this game and leave off one of the most sought after. And just to point out, every ship that's in these pictures is available in the game. So you got the Newton, you've got the Franklin, you've got the Enterprise, you've got the Saladin, there's the Bortus or the Katinga, I can't tell by the graphics. Then you've got an Enterprise in the background. I mean, so these are all things that are in the game getting used for promotional items. There's no way they're going to miss the opportunity to put out the Enterprise D. So, what minimum level do you need for the Enterprise D? Once again, Rebellion, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. And that's something we'll have to find out when it actually drops. And then No One Shall says they don't have any credit cards anymore. Oh, the Pokemon people came and took it. It's just a direct deposit to Pokemon lately. Woof. Big woof. Direct deposit to the Pokemon. A new Cardassian faction will be lit. I mean, look, we know that we've needed a faction for a while, and we do have the random Cardi systems hanging around. But you've got 5 factions, but 2 are kind of meh factions. I mean, you got the Augments, but not really a full-on, fully fledged faction. You got the Rogue, which is kind of fleshed out, and then you've got Romulan, Klingon, and then the Federation. Adding in the Cardassians would definitely add a huge layer to the game, but is a monumental add, and that probably wouldn't come until Deep Space Nine. Ed says, come on, you already got the videos done. Okay, so I'll be honest, I don't have the videos done, but they are prepped. They are. But I'll say this, I've learned, whether with an NDA or without NDA, working with Scopely, never, and no one shouts in the chat, he can attest to this, never, ever, ever, ever complete a video several days before a drop. Don't do it. If you do that, it's either got to come down or it's wrong. Never put out a video or make a video for an update several days before Scopely launches it. It is not going to be the same. Oh man, it is just simply not. So while I have prepped some things, no, I have not completed the videos for this week. So it is something to work as a work in progress. Eric says, hey, I'm a new fan. Thanks for the videos. They are great. Keep up the good work and play GBY. I don't know what the last part means, but thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. And how you doing, Rommel? Death Star says, could they release it like the Franklin A that basically scales with your level, unlocking resources that upgrade it as you reach certain milestones? Now, Death Star, that is exactly how I pushed it. I wanted the Enterprise D to be a PvP/Armada ship. And when I say PvP, I mean, I don't want it to be based on scaling where you look at, say, the Franklin, where it's only good against swarms because of its ability to do extra damage versus swarm targets. Now, if you're not familiar with that, look at the Swarm Hunter. This is the ship ability. My Franklin A has an 8,000% damage increase against swarms and swarm modders. It is not useless, but it is nowhere near as good as any other 4-star ship of its type. It's only good in this situation. So I wanted it to be something that was still viable in PvP, territory capture, armadas, but was something that would scale up. My suggestion was to start at like level 36 and scale all the way to 50. Make it a 12-tier 4-star type ship to where you were locked at certain levels. You had to jump up to get to it, but that way everybody got a chance. You know, because the only other option that Scopely would typically release this type of thing is to make it like a level 48 or a level 50 ship, which means almost nobody would get it. Nobody would have it for a long, long time, which really ruins the point of promoting the next generation. So we'll just have to see how they end up playing it out. Jonathan Cooper says, why does Scopely seem to make it so much harder for new players to get a ship they gave away free during an easier Battle Pass event? Getting the Stella, for example, is ridiculously hard. Now, I'll disagree with the last sentence there. I agree with your point. The Vidar, the Discovery, Franklin even, much too hard to get. The Stella is able to be gotten at level 28 for free through the faction store. You get the first one, it's not that big a deal. I mean, yeah, there's a grind involved, but you can get it. You can really only wait for event stores for like the Vidar, and that's a problem. But they definitely struggle with sourcing of ships and officers in this game, and that's not new to anybody who's been around for a while. Definitely something that we need to continue to pester them to get better at. But that's simply something that we have to live with, because until they fix it, all we can do is gripe and complain. I agree. Cosmic cleanup is one of the ways that we've seen them. I probably shouldn't hit that without a crew on there. It's one of the ways that we've seen them try to address that. Still, is it perfect? Not at all. I mean, there are many ways that they can improve that sourcing. Because remember, we didn't even have Cosmic Cleanup this Saturday. And while I do think that the past week's events were very, very good, I love getting Crucible of War. I love getting the faction, and I really thought that cleaning it up with Apex and Swarms here on Sunday is a fantastic break week, because those are 3 events that are really good for you, or you can take off and it doesn't hurt you because the battle pass isn't running. So you can either take a break or you can grind to get even more stuff, but there wasn't like a paywall involved with it. So I thought that was a great setup, and I enjoyed that. Cosmic Cleanup would have made that a little bit more perfecto for me. But right now, we haven't had Cosmic Cleanup except during the arc, this past arc. So I'm hoping that we keep that pattern. And that's some part of the feedback that I gave them, that type of thing needed to continue. In fact, I had a very, very brief conversation with one of the devs earlier this morning. I'm going to pull that back up so I can see. But the conversation we had was in regards to, do y'all remember the feedback video that we made together where I took feedback from Facebook, from YouTube, from the Discord, and I made the feedback video? So all the points we talked about in there were stuff that most of y'all had brought up or either agreed upon at various points during the month, and I passed that along. And then I had a short conversation with them about that this morning. And one of the things that was part of the very pro section of that was Cosmic Cleanup was happening every Saturday during the month. And that was something that they agreed was fantastic feedback, and I don't know if that necessarily translates to is going to happen again, but it was well received. So hopefully this is something that continues, and while I don't think that Cosmic Cleanup should be the only way you're sourcing some of this stuff, I agree. That is not the way that we should be only sourcing this. It's still better than where we were just a while ago where there was no other option. So slowly making baby step improvements is that. If that's the way we got to do it, then that's the way we got to do it. Next question is from Rommel. Oh, hold on, Rommel. There's another one that I skipped. I want to jump back into real quick. And by the way, shout out to all the green names in the chat. Those are the ones who support the channel financially. I can't do this without them, so thank y'all. Fjordan says, the Elite Outlaw solo leaderboard is 2 days, so you can save for tomorrow and win at the same time. I agree. If you want to watch that leaderboard, go for it. Currently, I'm about to blow this up because I don't have I forgot to put chin on. But if we jump into the solo leaderboard, like, I'll watch mine, but I know that I am probably not going to be able to get this. But like 200,000 is not a ton of points. I'm going to watch it. I just don't feel like I've got a strong chance at it. But I will pay attention, and then I'll go really hard the last day if that point total stays relatively low. So definitely keep an eye on that leaderboard if you want to go for it. Let's see. Nathan says, the update is cooked, right? There's nothing still subject to change. Why does Scopely wait until the last minute to post the release notes? Well, I mean, that's honestly a question that you would just have to ask them. They've never been that way. In fact, for a long time, they never released the notes at all. And I'm not sure how new you are to Star Trek Fleet Command. You might have been here for a long time, Nathan, but there was a time, especially in 2019, where there were no release notes ever. You just got the content. You had to figure it out on your own. And I'm certainly not saying, hey, suck it up, we've got it good now. I'm definitely not making that argument. I am saying, though, that, you know, they have started to be a little bit more open, but they don't give things away ahead of time. And I don't necessarily understand their logic for it because it's counter to what a lot of other games do, especially games in this style market. Not that we need to have like 3 weeks notice of upcoming things, but I do think that the way you kind of help balance that is to actually have some consistency in these events. Like we know that Cosmic Cleanup should be Saturday every time. We know that Swarm Sunday is every Sunday. We know that the Latinum Monday is. And if we have more consistency on that, then I can live with some of the big stuff not being newsworthy until the day of. But in general, that's one of the things that they always agree with us on that has slowly improved, and that's communication. There's just not a great communication at all times, but at least it's starting to be there. And Nathan says lots of games post 3 to 10 days ahead of content updates. It depends on what the content update is, Nathan, and what type of games. So games of this style that are mobile based typically don't do that much updating up front, but there are definitely some that do. Let's see. David says, when scrapping a Maxed Horizon, how far will it get you for a new Antares? Not very far at all. Not very far at all. Generally, my Antares upgrades is, of course, I generally just take my factions to tier 5, tier 6. I don't max those out, but Horizon scrapping is not terribly efficient. It's not something like you would think, because the Horizon's a level 26 ship, like the Mayflower and etc., that actually would have great payouts and maybe even 4-star stuff. It does not, and it's just kind of meh. So next up is from Rommel. My problem is, why do I have to rush to a higher level to get a ship for free, or I have to pay for it? Well, I guess that depends on specifically what you're speaking about. I can tell you that there is not really that case in anything that they've put out recently. For example, the Franklin A. Even if you get to the level now, it's still free. Just scrap your regular Franklin if you put in the work to max it. I'm not sure. I guess you'd have to repost about what specifically you're talking about. But I don't really feel like that's much of an issue. I just feel like the grind level is way too extensive. Like, there's not a ship that I can think of off the top of my head that is pure pay to own at the moment. that can't be gotten in events. But I do agree that the events are far too sparse. Way too sparse. I mean, they've got to do a better method of spreading those out and making them easier to win, target, prepare for, all those words wrapped into one. Let's head over here. Next up is Rommel again. I'm level 32, but in order to upgrade my Sark, I have to be level 37. How is that fair? So the reason the Sarcophagus is built like that, Rommel, is because the Sarcophagus is a hybrid ship. And what I mean by hybrid is it is a tier 3/tier 4 ship. So it's level gated. Because if you were able to access the high end of, and it's actually, and this is probably not something a lot of people want to agree on, but when it comes to level versus level balancing, it actually helps the free-to-play to prevent whales of that level from simply dominating at their level. Now, obviously, you can get hit in this game by some people who are 10 levels higher than you. That's not what I'm talking about. But those brackets help scale you up. And not only does it encourage you to level up if you want to upgrade that ship, which the Sarcophagus is absolutely awful anyway, so I wouldn't even recommend that. But, you know, if you were, say, level 34... and let's say that you were level 34 and there was a spender at your same level who didn't have a problem dropping $4,000 to max out the ship. You'd have no chance against somebody even at your level. So there's that difficulty where, yes, they want to encourage spending. They're a business. I mean, every gaming company in the world now is a business. I guess they were before, but I guess they're really more businesses now, like ultra business. So they want those people to spend and they want to make the money, but at the same time, you have to have some level of balance or else people would just, quit. So, I mean, all those ships that are hybrids do the scaling aspect. And I guess right or wrong, we can debate that. I think that it's fine as long as, that the ship is serving a particular purpose, but we'll see. Wouldn't it be good to have a day each week for Borg events? Yes, hey, that's something that we've pushed to them. And if you remember, I think we talked about it on a live stream. When was this? It probably was a few weeks ago, but we talked to them. Check out my last dev Q&A video. If y'all wouldn't mind, if one of the moderators or one of my followers can grab that, I would be greatly appreciative. But I'm pretty sure the last dev Q&A that we put on YouTube, we actually talked to them about Borg dailies. And, I'm telling you the answers. You don't have to watch the video, but I encourage you to check it out anyway because we talked about a lot of topics. But their response to Borg dailies was that it made a lot of sense and that it's something that they would look into in the future. Obviously not giving a guarantee because they hate giving yes or no's and answering questions. But there's lots of this. Just woo, woo, woo. But in general, we got a yes, that's a good idea. It makes a lot of sense. We could look into that. So go and check out that video if you haven't already. We talk about a lot of different questions that y'all asked. And generally every month I'll have another one probably either this week or next week where we'll have another set of questions that we talk to the devs and say, hey, what's y'all's thoughts on this? Are y'all open to this? Etc. And those will be based on some of your feedback. Next up is from Andrew says, is the Bortus worth building at 29 with a tier 8 plus Sally? Would need to use Klingon credits to get half the remaining BPs. So my answer is yes and no. I hate that there's become this, and I feel like at times I've contributed to this, so I'm sorry. There's this idea that you can only go one way. Like you get your one ship and you go South and then you go Enterprise and then you go. There's not just one way to play. Just simply understand the choices of your decision. The Bortus is a very, very good ship. It's good in PvP, even though it's really freaking slow. It's a good base cracker. It's good in PvE. It's decent in armadas for the level range. But if you're going to be putting the resources into it, it will slow down your progression. But slowing down your progression is not necessarily a negative thing. Remember, you cannot win Star Trek Fleet Command. You don't get to level 50 and get a big hoorah and a big plaque on your wall from the game like, hey, you won. It doesn't work like that. There is no end game to this game. So you play it at your pace to stay competitive and have fun at what you're doing. I love the Bortus. It's a fun ship. I love everything Klingon. I build every Klingon ship regardless of if I need it. I will be building the Katinga in the 40s and probably not taking it up very high simply because I play the game to get enjoyment out of it, even though I try to be as efficient as possible and I always stress efficiency. Will it do anything that your Saladin won't do? No, the Bortus cannot do anything that the Saladin can't already do. Is it still a good ship and is it still fun to play with? Yes. So, Thomas, can you ask the devs to give us a Deep Space Nine skin? Don't worry, that's already been pushed by many people. We'll just see if it's a thing. Doug says the first jelly is pay to own. Okay, so that was a mix. It's a mix. They do offer those in random event stores throughout the year. So it's kind of it's on the wall because it's not a consistent event store item. But like when they run the PvP events, I don't know if y'all remember those. When they run the PvP events, they put them in event stores so that people who didn't have it could get them for the PvP events. So it is definitely not something you can just easily work on right now, but it has been given away for free multiple times. When it first came out, 100%, it was a pay-to-own ship, 1,000%. Now it is something that periodically they will make free, but there's not a certain schedule to it, which is kind of annoying. All right, next up. Do options to purchase the Vidar ever come open at higher levels, or is it only event store? I'm camping 14 till I get the resources built up, but definitely want the ship in the future. Yes, RB, it does appear in both the pay store and the event store. Now, because we're prior the week, I have several ships in here. I don't know if I'll have another Vidar. Yeah, it doesn't look like I have the Vidar. But usually a week before the arc, I don't know if y'all have noticed this, but the week prior to the arc, you'll generally get a bunch of packs that'll appear to get you to buy ships. You don't necessarily need any of these ships for the arcs that are coming. It's just something they do to sell at the beginning of each month, which is also why we have the August Elite Daily Pack. And some of you, depending on your level and spending, will see like the Choice Reward Pack, the Elite Daily Pack. There's a $20 version, a $50 version, and a $100 version. What you see is based on many things, your level, how much you spend, etc. So it is something that they'll sell. It's also something that you can grind for and things like Cosmic Cleanup. It's up to you, depend on how you want to go about that. It is definitely one of the best ships in the game to own. It is a game changer for your progression. Really needed. Definitely could be grinding. Definitely could be a heck of a grind. Okay. Let's see what else we got. We need more questions, by the way. Keep on bringing them. Daniel says we need a hijacked auger. I mean, I agree and disagree at the same time. We do not need the hijack format to come back. The hijack format was a failure, everybody. I have all of the hijack ships. Okay? I have them. They're completely useless. Here's a hijack Legionary. Here's a hijack Mayflower. Here's a hijack D3. There, you've seen them. And that's literally all they're good for. You just witnessed them on Revolution's stream. That's all you need it for, because they are not any stronger. They actually cost more to upgrade. And you can't scrap them. They're literally a waste of resources. They look great. And I won't deny that. In fact, there is a legitimate argument to be made that the hijack Mayflower is one of the prettiest ships in the game. The silver, dark gray, and gold undertones and everything is a beautiful ship. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Definitely not worth building and dropping resources into. Definitely not. Hijack Legionary, which I took this to tier 6 when it came out, by the way, because I didn't know any better. Gorgeous skin. They look amazing. They are the hot rods that you buy and never use. That's all they are. They are hot rod cars. Gorgeous, but useless. Anyway, next question. All right, Buddy says, will any Epic Armada work for me to get into the deep space at level 39, or do you need to see the mission before? Yeah, you have to see it. So you have to actually have the Ascension event up. You can't just do an Epic Armada at level 39 and then get the tokens. It's an event that comes around on Fridays called the Ascension event. And when you see the event, that's when you need to run the Epic Armada, and then that will then give you as a reward the Ascension tokens you need to go to level 40 plus. So I have 6 of 10 at 20%. Is 6 an Armada sidekick only? Well, yeah, he's always a sidecar. You always put 6 on the side. He's never something that you really use as a captain. It's his officer ability that's so overpowered and so amazing. I hate to use the word overpowered because that almost applies like it needs to be nerfed. He's simply the best pure Armada officer in the game. Even with Riker coming out, Riker is still my second best maybe. 6 is by far the best. So it is definitely something that you want running. It's good. Just make sure you stack the stats for it, but you'll notice a significant improvement on the amount of damage you're putting onto the hull of a target when you've got a good 6 of 10 build out on your ship. What does the Meridian Refit provide? It provides you 1 extra refinery for each type. So 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star Isogen. You get an extra refine for it, which does come in handy, not going to lie. NGL, as the kids would say. Hope you're having an awesome day. Hope you're having an awesome day as well, Bubster3. How are you doing, buddy? Let's see. Andrew says, major gripe is how the monthly packs have become less available. Even my Alliance non-spinners have stopped seeing the $20 pack. Fair. I'd also argue that the $20 pack is pretty awful and that the Battle Pass is far superior. I say in a lot of ways the Battle Pass has kind of surpassed that. Now, the difference is, the monthly packs you don't have to do anything for. Once you buy them, you get everything up front, and then you get the tokens to turn in every day, so you get 30 days of rewards. But honestly, the $20 never had any value to me anyway. They were literally like 1/4 the, well, actually it was less than that. It was, because I remember the $50 pack is about 1/3 the value of a $100 pack. So that must have been, and I have to see it to really know, but short, I would surmise that 1/7 the value of the $100 pack for $20. So they definitely scaled down. When you spend more, you get a better value on Scopely's little pack system. I wasn't a big fan of that ever. And generally I told people, if you want to spend a little bit of money, don't spend it on that. Don't spend it on that. I've never felt like those had a lot of value, even for lower level players. But of course, you are free to spend on whatever you find value in, and just take my opinions for what they are. All right. What else we got? We've got Charlie, who says, I'm level 16 and tried to crack a base today, and well, it went terribly. So just wait until I can tier up a North Star. Now, you can crack a base with a Tala. I've got a 30,000 Tala on my level 19, and I could definitely crack a base. The key to early base cracking, there's several points that you want to remember. And honestly, this applies to any level base that you're trying to break into. 1, cost doesn't matter. You balance cost versus reward. For example, if you got a Tala, Tala is literally, it costs dirt to repair. No big deal. Simply crack. If it takes you 200 hits, it doesn't matter, because you're going. If you got a base on, and so many like level 16s and 17s and 18s have got millions of titanium and par steel. My level 19's on like 30 million par steel right now. It doesn't matter. Now, at the same time, remember, it's far easier to crack a base that has no ships home. And that's something that I always look for, because it takes a lot of the time away. Just knock down those guns and get through. Yes, the North Star is going to be far better because it has more hull health, which means that it lasts a lot more rounds than a Tala or a Turris or a Fendra will. But you can definitely crack a base. It's just making sure that you're looking at the right bases, or at least the bases that won't take as much time to get into. So, yeah. All right, next up is, I'm building out my Voclus right now at Ops 23. What's the next best ship you should go for? That would definitely be the Vidar. If you can work on getting the Vidar on things like Cosmic Cleanup, turning in those tokens, the Vidar is the best ship coming up for you. The Kamari is a hit or a miss for me, man. It's okay. It's not that it's bad. It actually has a fantastic firing pattern, can be loaded out really easily with good officers. The Kamari is a good ship. But is it amazing? No. And then you also are running into an issue where in the 20s, you really have to focus on specialty ships, because the only really attack ship that you need is the level 28 attack ships, the Centurion, Saladin, or the Bortus. In between there, you're focusing on the Discovery if you can get it, the Franklin, the Vidar, the Stella. All these are focuses. And I would rather have the Stella at 27 than the Kumari at 25. Now, if you want to get the Kumari and use it for your everyday running while you're camping at 25, sure. Yeah, and I've actually talked about in videos that I would say do that. That's fine. And then take it to maybe tier 5, tier 6. Don't worry about maxing it out at tier 9, because scrapping it doesn't give you anything really anyway. And use it to do enough of what you need to do your everyday task in. Maybe even use it for some armadas. But it's not something that you have to put a lot of effort and great deal of resources into. The 20s, for me, I try to be as efficient as possible because there's so many ships that need my attention. My Horizon at level 26 is there. The Botany Bay still needs attention. Is probably one of your better rating ships at level 25. It's just, you have so many specialty ships in the game now. By the way, the Devore at level 23, so that you have time that you have to put into. The Kimahri can kind of pull away from that. It depends on how long you're going to play at that level, how you're going to camp, and it can work for you. It's not a bad ship. It's just, do you have the time and the balance to make it work for you? And if you do, go for it. Rock that bad girl. But if you don't, just bear in mind, you know, how much you have to put into and weigh that cost, I guess. All right, Ship D. Crap, Ship D is actually out right now. Well, never mind. I was going to swap over to Picard Beverly Chin, but we'll just have to wait for that because we've been farming over here. Jonathan says, hey, Rev, do you think we'll see a change in low level of returns from the refinery and a reduction in cooldown? Nope. Negative, I do not. Negative, I do not. They've made it very clear, and I've been repeating this a lot lately. 3-star uncommons are not the refinery's issue. Like that, the refinery is not being improved to make that better. What they'll do is events. Events are where they're paying out more and more. Now, I say that, you know, it's got 23 uncommons, so. But the events that they're improving, Crucible of War, Battle Pass, that is where they're putting a lot of the uncommon increases in the game. And they have improved the refinery. It's not good. I'm not lying to you and be like, hey, the refinery is awesome. You love it. It's not. But at the same time, they've shifted away to where that's not the focus. You should still do the refinery every day, 100%. But that is not where you're getting a lot of your stuff. You're getting it from events. They're making you actively participate instead of actively mine. That's something they've kind of tried to stray towards. And that's getting everybody out of that mindset of refinery. Because let's just go look at a couple of events at my level. You saw what I just pulled. Well, Swarm Sunday just gave me 3 right there. Let's pop into Apex, which actually this one is just Trid. It doesn't actually, yeah. Dilithium, I'm sorry. Wrong one. But let's hop into Threat from Beyond, which is not a new event, but it's relatively compared to some of the old stuff. There's 6 rare crystal. There's 9 and 9. I get more from completing Threat from Beyond Heroic and my regular Threat from Beyond than I get from my refinery every day. And that's one event. You know, and this is just a standard event. That's not a specialty event. So how they're stacking a lot of the uncommon payouts is through like reward stores and events and then your daily event structure, not as much the refinery. And I guess it's not that I don't want the refinery to be better. It's that I simply want to make sure that everybody understands where to go to get the alleviation that they're seeking for uncommons, and it's focusing on the different event payouts. Another thing I'd love to see is why can't we have uncommon as a reward in the daily missions? I mean, that would be fantastic if we could get that. All right, Space Lord says, are the prime refinery researches worth buying? Okay, so, you actually asked worth doing, so let me answer it that way first. Yes, they are worth doing. Are they worth purchasing? As always, I'll leave that decision up to you. I'm going to pull the packs up so that you can see them because I didn't buy them. Y'all see that I have all 3 primes, so I'm assuming most people are like, oh, he spent $300. What an idiot. No, I didn't actually. What I did is I scrapped ships for it. So what you're going to end up getting is an extra refinery batch. So if you pulled 3, well, now you're getting 4. If you pulled 1, you're getting 2. So it costs uncommon 4-star materials. Well, at level 34, you can start scrapping ships to do that. So I have so far scrapped 1 Legionary, 1 D3, and 2 Mayflowers, I think. Maybe 1 Mayflower, I can't remember to be honest. And I used those to get the refineries. Those are some of the earliest things I jumped in on. And with that, I was able to then slowly increase, because it does affect, slowly increase the amount of uncommons I was getting from the refinery. Is it a lot? No, but I have noticed an increase. I might get, an extra 10% more. It's not a lot, 15% more in a month. But I mean, if that translates to another 100 uncommon, fantastic. So, but do I recommend paying for them? If you want it and you don't want to wait to scrap ships at 34, 35, 36, cool. Go for it. There is value in them. But what you might notice is it takes a while for you to feel like you're getting a good return on investment, where it takes you several months to feel like you've kind of broken even and then making a profit for what that $100 is worth. So completely up to you. Once again, not speaking negatively, but giving you the information you need to make the choice on what you should do. Next up is any word on more bonus refineries? Nope, Tampax, but I'll promise I ask again to the dev team this month. We'll see if we have any luck. I don't know. Does Riker work on Eclipse Armadas? Yes, he does. I'm not sure why somebody would say he does not. When it comes to the G4 ships, is the Kelvin worth investing in, or will it be massively outclassed quickly by the other ships and be non-competitive? I would say that the Kelvin is a fine ship for everything around it. And what I mean by that is the Valdor, the Jellyfish, the Katinga. There's balance there. But the jump from 42 to the 46 ships is, oh my God, high. Like, whoo! The 46 is way better efficiency and value as warships and general use ships than the 42s. Doesn't necessarily mean the 42s are bad and you shouldn't go for them. Like I just said, an hour ago, 30 minutes ago, I'm getting the Katinga. I love it. And I'll probably end up getting the Valdor because the game sets me up to get a Valdor for basically free. So, yes, I will definitely be getting these ships. But are they necessarily great long-term? No, they're not. Not trying to say that's a super negative. I'm simply pointing out the state of the game and knowing what you're getting into. If you're not a heavy spender, though, I'll say this. If you're not a heavy spender in the game, it's probably a good idea to pick up one of the ships because you're probably going to be sitting at those levels for a long time, right? And you're going to be sitting at 42, 43, 44 for months, maybe even a year or more before you actually get to 46. So it'd be pretty silly for you to just be rocking the Enterprise as your only ship until that point. You know what I mean? No negatives at anybody if you skip it, but it depends on the type of player. If you are a mostly free-to-play light spender, you probably want to pick one up. And if the Kelvin's your ship, go for it. All three of them can be loaded out well and can work. The 46s are by far the better ones, though. I mean, we talk about the jump. You remember how we've talked a lot about the jump from like the epic ships and the 34 ships versus the 32s? The 32s are still really good, though. Like, they're semi-close. But there's not a massive jump from the 32s to the 28s. Imagine the jump from 34 to 28, though. Okay, so the Saladin Centurion and Bortus versus the next set was like the Enterprise Augur D4. That's what it's like going from the uncommons to the rares in the 40s. It is a huge jump in ability and overall awesomeness. We have a real quick shout out real quick. We haven't even plugged it yet. Somebody's just like, yo, I want to help out, and I love them for it. We just had a donation to the house fund. We're going to give a shout out to Derek M right now. They literally just asked, hey, where's that house fund at? I just displayed it on the screen. I just figured they were curious about what the number was at. And they just donated $34.19. It's updated here on the board, giving us a, I like that number. I like it. That made me giggle like I was in high school again. Like, look at it. 69 at the end. Thank you so much, Derek, for donating to the house fund. Greatly appreciated. Hopefully I'm helping you out with your game, and you're definitely helping me out with mine. Thumbs up, man. Working on the house fund. For those that don't know, this is because we're trying to work on getting a house for my two kids so they can grow up in a nice place that I never got to have growing up, and we're working on a down payment, so that's what that is, working on that. Matt Mel says, I watched your scrapping videos, but I don't recall them covering what you get from scrapping a Legionary. What primes does that give you? So I've said before, and I'm just going to have to do this, I'm going to have to remake that video to cover all three of those. I'm sorry I haven't done it yet. There's always so much going on in this game. It's hard to constantly be hitting on that. This past week, when we've had kind of like a downtime, I've really tried to focus on things that are problems in the game to make Scopely just kind of like nudge them and remind them, hey, you know, officer sourcing, independent credits, Borg nanoprobes, that's all so important. And not that telling you what, primes you can get for free isn't important. It's just I'm really trying to focus on making the game better for the players. It's always kind of been my focus. So, we do need to do that. Please remind me in my Discord. If you are not in my Discord, join. We've got that information there. I can even tell you what it gives you right now if you just want to know what the Legionary can give you in terms of totals when it's scrapped. Sorry for not having that video just kind of out already. I promise I'm not trying to ignore or anything like that. But yeah, we will need to remake that video. Very long-winded way of saying I'm sorry for not having like 10 videos a day. Because I feel like it sometimes, I need to do that. I need to just buckle down and be like, look, start putting out 3 or 4 videos a day. I worry though, 1, I'd get burned out, and 2, I don't know if anybody would be able to watch that many videos. Okay, let me take a quick drink real quick. Your mouth starts locking up a little bit when you talk a lot. Shout out to Andrew Morris, who just happened to be a lieutenant on the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for hanging out. Remember that we do have a members only section. And that is one area I've admittedly slacked on. I do give insider information to people who support financially. So if you do, make sure you hit me up so you can get into the Discord. And on the YouTube page, there's a members only section we'll post to every now and then. But if you donate to the channel, especially the house fund, make sure that you hit up the Discord so we can get you in there. Drew says, I did disagree with the independent credits. You can spend lat. Oh, Drew, come on. We're not even going to pretend like that's a viable way to get independent credits. Let's not even pretend like that's viable, Drew. Come on, man. That's like, are you joking me now, man? You telling jokes? You think you're a comedian here? Come on, man. Come on, man. Oof. All right, gotta give another shout real quick to Andrew, who just donated $20 to the house fund. Thank you for not ruining, by the way, the beautiful end number here. But we're going to get you down for that. And remember, the bigger donation, the bigger your name is going to be on the wall in the house. We have an entire wall for everybody who's donated. The bigger the donation, the bigger the font. So if you want to brag to your friends that you're at a random house in Louisiana, this is the way to do it. So thank you once again. You've done a video on the Katinga. Could you do one on the Vidar? So that was actually No One Shall who did the one on the Katinga. I will be doing one. I can do one on any of them. I've got crew loadouts for all of these ships. I've got all these stats for them and everything. What I really don't have handy at all times is footage. And I definitely have a ton of whales I can talk to. It's just really nailing them down and be like, yo, shoot me a video of this. Because I don't want to just have... Here's what the video would look like right now if I made you a Coronar video. And I love the Coronar. I think it's a fantastic little explorer. Here's what the video would look like. So this is the Coronar. This is what it does. Here's its firing pattern. Here's how you can load it out and just be this thing in the background the entire time. And while I don't necessarily mind having this as a shot, I do always try to add as much value to my videos in terms of like development and cinematography, which I'm awful at, obviously. I don't want it to just be a static shot of a Coronar that's not built with a grid screen like it's Tron. Tron 3 starring the Coronar. Yeah, it's not what we're really going for here. So I got to get that footage from everybody. And when I get all that sent to me, I can go ahead and start making those because it makes my job a little bit easier. I just haven't gotten around to it because of all the other things that are going on. And Kyle asked, what do you mean the game practically gives you the Valdor for free? What I mean by that is the game makes it easy to upgrade the Valdor versus other early ships because of Parabellum and the ISS Jelly Brawl. Those two events give you the exact, because, I mean, the ISS Jelly is a 4-star explorer. So those two events give you stuff to upgrade your Valdor. And by the time I get to my Valdor, I'll be able to take it to like tier 3 pretty quickly. You know, it's a cool little thing. That doesn't mean that I should only push getting Valdors, but it is a very nice little bonus that, like, hey, we just got a Valdor and don't even have to grind hard to start upgrading it to a decent tier. Now it's actually useful. How cool is that? You know, how cool is that? So, more questions. Come on. Invite your friends, by the way. We've been going on for about an hour, and I feel like we can keep going strong. I'll answer the questions as long as you got them. I do have some video prep to do after this one, including bad crew videos. Who doesn't love bad crew videos? We got to do that as well. So, yeah, keep throwing in the questions. Keep throwing them in. All right, so what else do we have? All right, Michael says, while we are dreaming, why do we have to click the useless resource generators to collect? Does Scopely actually believe we're logging in to collect? No, they don't. No. Generators is actually a video I made. Jeez. Oh, how long ago was that video? Do y'all remember? Anyway, it's been a long time. Generators are awful. They know that they're awful. I have no idea when they're going to fix them. But yes, we even made an entire video as part of our Dry Dock series. I have a very short playlist on my YouTube channel called Dry Dock. And the entire premise of the Dry Dock is videos I really hit on them that they need to update things on. And to their credit, if you go and look at the Dry Dock series, most of the older stuff in the Dry Dock series on my YouTube channel has actually been worked on. Not that I'm trying to take credit for it, but they actually went and did that. So you know, it's something that we keep pressuring them on, keep encouraging them to get better on, and hopefully that is the way. Like it keeps happening. Oh my gosh. Oh, eBay. Stop taking money from my account, eBay. Stop taking money from my account. I had to ship something that was apparently $30 to ship. Holy shnikes, Batman. But anyway, that was the answer to that question. All right, I just had to answer some. All right, people were like, hey, you want me to send you videos now? Yes, go ahead and do that. Next question we have. I have the Valdora 90 penalties for the pylon. Very nice, Craig. Very nice. What do you think of deuces, 5 of 10 and 6 of 10? I'm not sure, Bobby, what you're asking. Unless you mean Decius. 5 of 10, 6, and Decius is okay. There's a lot better officers than Decius, but that's still fine. There's worse things you could do for sure. Definitely worse things. Let's see what other questions we have. Can the jelly carry you to 46? Zoomer, the jelly technically can carry you to 46. Would I want it to? No. Can it? Yes. It's kind of like the same argument that you would make about the Saladin. Can the Saladin carry you to 39 until you get a jelly? It can. Would you want it to? No. But it can. No lies are told. It certainly can. Would I want that? I would not want that at all. It just sounds like to be a very boring playthrough and would really limit a lot of the stuff that I could participate in. Well, I don't necessarily think that's bad if that's what you want to do. I just don't think that would be something that I would enjoy. I give another shout real quick to Kinnavon. And what's crazy is thank y'all so much for donating to the channel. I literally haven't even shared the link to donate. People have gone and looked it up. I didn't even share the link of how to go donate. So y'all are just going and finding it. Thank y'all so much. Kinnavon just donated $25 to the house fund right there. Thank you, Kinnavon. Greatly appreciate it. I will post the link just because people are donating, and who am I to turn down free money for my children? But thank you so much. I really can't. I mean, it's very humbling that this is there, and I know I'm trying not to get on a big tangent about donations because most people don't want to hear that, and I can already see the viewer count just like plummeting. Like 280 we're watching now, it's like 14. But thank y'all so much. I cannot do what I do without y'all. Y'all are basically part of the family. Thank you so much. And once again, y'all are awesome people. Awesome people. Okay. I'm going on tangents now. I apologize. So anyway, there's a G4 ship question I want to grab real quick. And that was, hold on, I'm going to pull up some base cost for you because somebody was asking. Hold on, I've got it saved. Where is it? Where is it? All right, I can't find the sheet I'm looking for. Does anybody have the pure cost, like straight upgrade, straight unlocking cost of the 42s handy in terms of faction credits? I don't have it in front of me. I tried to look it up in my folder, but I can't find it. So if anybody can grab that real quick, I'll repeat it. But Paul says that generators should never stop generating. I agree. It makes no sense. Probably the most useless building, we talk about the generators being the most useless, but honestly, it's not the generators. The most useless building is the vaults in the warehouse. Why is there a cap? And how much? Because I can obviously keep more than my vaults. See, my vault says I can only keep 14. Well, I've got 68 right now. So what's the point of this building? It obviously serves no true purpose except to limit the amount that you can. Oh, shout out to Hugo. Appreciate the hit there, buddy. It obviously serves no real purpose in the game. So that's probably like if the generators did not have the vault to stop them from working, then the generators might be a passively okay income generation. Still need to produce way more than they do. But it's the vaults that are the biggest problem. But anyway, that's just, I guess it's neither here nor there. Tom says, once you're at 34, what's the first thing that you should do with all this stuff that you get from scrapping? For me, I always go after some of the bigger primes. Prime Stella Efficiency, the Prime Ore, Prime Gas, Prime Crystal. Prime Officers being the number one one if you don't have that already. The Borg Primes, which that one's actually rare. You can still get it. Yeah, you just might need a couple. But those are like, that would be my top 6 primes to go after. Prime Piercing, if you have 6 of 10, very, very good with Armadas. So there's several in there. It just depends on where you are at as a player and, you know, what you have already, and we can kind of make recommendations. It's one of the reasons that I tell so many people to go to the Discord group, because not just me, we have a ton of knowledgeable people in our Discord, and that way we can actually get a visual on what all you actually have in the game, and then we can make a suggestion based on that. So do that anytime you like, man. Come hit us up on Discord, and we'll give you that one-on-one information. All right, next up is... I feel like I'm seeing the same question twice, so hold on. You scored big on the last Picard event. I'm 29 shards short. Will I get a chance to get Picard soon? B-tailing, I guess it depends on your definition of soon. As you saw, and I completely forgot to mention this when we were just going over all the things that the game is adding. You know, they have made it to where you can source Picard this past week in another leaderboard event. I know not everybody likes leaderboards. In fact, most of you probably watching this are like, I hate leaderboards, stop doing them, don't ever do it again. Okay, so they're going to do them again. But if they're rolling those out more often, especially between arcs, well, then they're actually giving more people a chance to go after it. And you get to a point where once you already have it, you're probably not just getting really gung-ho and going after it again. So you probably will get another chance to do that. I don't necessarily want to say like soon, because I don't know when the next one is. But I will say that that is a great sign that they're making that more readily available. And that they're really trying to hear some of the complaints was that because it had so many shards, needing 180, which is the most by a wide margin. I mean, when we say it's the most that you need for an epic, it's the most that you need by a lot. So if they're listening to the feedback that said, hey, we hate this because we can't get enough of it, well, hopefully that turns into, you know, well, success. By the way, I got to give a shout real quick to Derek. I don't know if he's still in here, but Derek, I just was going through the notes as I'm trying to multitask and do this. That was a donation, your first one for qualifying you for the house fund, buddy. So your name is going in the house. I'm writing it down right now because I've got a spreadsheet of everybody who's donated so far. And we are up to people who will have their name on my house, 154 of them. Holy crap. It's a lot of people. Thank y'all so much. And we are almost halfway to our goal. If you are a very generous whale out there and would like to donate the $10,000 you'll spend this year on me instead of Scopely, I promise you'll feel a lot better doing it to me than you will them doing it to you. You see what I did there? Hey, we'll just scroll right past that. Next up is, how often do they run the Parabellum event? So Wayne, it's not something that's super consistent in terms of like you can know that it's coming on a Saturday or something. But they do announce it in the arcs right now. So 2 arcs ago, we had, I think, 4 Parabellum events. This past arc, we had 2 Parabellum events and 1 Jelly Brawl. So they lowered that number. As I said earlier, I was talking to a dev this morning about the feedback that we provided for the last arc. One of the negatives of that feedback was that the Jelly Brawl and the Parabellum event came around fewer times. So they heard that feedback, and hopefully they make a change for this upcoming month in terms of the scheduling and how they're rolling that out. We'll see if that ends up panning out how we want it to, which would be more Parabellum events. But that is a great event. No more words can be said by that. What ops level should you get your Vidar max by? Wolf, that depends on how much you really want to push into it. It's one of the few specialty ships at this point that you can kind of max almost immediately. I would say... I'd say it's reasonable to expect 1 tier per level, which means you're maxing it by 32. You could do it before then, or you could do it even later. I would say a reasonable idea is 1 tier per level. And that kind of gives you like a little goal on a checklist that you can go by. Now, when I talked about camping at level 29, I'm really talking, I include maxing your Vidar. But it's definitely something that you can think 1 tier per level is a very reasonable growth pattern for you with the Vidar. And it'll also help you carry for a while. Let's see. What are you saving your lat for? Well, what do you mean saving? I've actually spent like 100,000 in the past month. I just get a lot of it thanks to things like Parabellum. Every time Parabellum runs, I get like 20,000 lat. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. You wonder why all the 39s are always 39 pluses are talking about it, because it pays out so freaking much. Like, what do you mean you got 20,000 latinum like that? I'm down to 430. I had gotten over 500,000, which is the first time I've ever gotten over 500,000 latinum. And then all these events started coming around. I was upgrading ships and buying ship parts and buying commons that I didn't have, and it all went made that sound effect when it happened. It went, but yeah, events. And I save it for those type of events. I don't blow it on speed ups or anything. One, because I've got a ton of speed ups. I've been saving those things for way too long. But yeah, the Parabellum event really helps me when it comes to that. All right, I like the brackets. It's just level 32 and a 31, 35. So the brackets, you're gonna like, you're gonna like the brackets, depending on what event's around. All that chuckling to say, be very careful about what brackets you say you enjoy. Be very, very careful about what brackets you say you enjoy. Give her another quick shout out real quick because somebody donated to the house fund, and we got a big thank you. Terry just donated. Now Terry sent it as a payment instead as a gift, so it took a fee away, but it ends up being $19.12 to the house fund. Sadly, this will wreck our previous awesomeness of ending in 69. If anybody out there would like to fix that, all you got to do is donate about $4,333 and and then make the N69. You see what I did there? See what I did there? Anyway, thank you so much, Ms. Terry, for that donation. Greatly appreciated. If you have a question, make sure I get to it. Don't want to skip over anything. Thank you for supporting me and the kids. Any news on fixing production warehouses? We actually talked about that a little bit ago. Bleach, yeah, there's no update on that. Would we like it to happen? Of course, yes. Any update on that happening for us? No update. We'd love it though. Tampex says tricky riff. Hey, look, I'm gonna act like a fool when it comes to getting money from my kids. Like when I had my children, and the parents out there can understand. Your whole paradigm shifts, man. And my whole thinking now is centered around, preparing for their future, giving them things I never had. That's all I care about. My car is now 10 years old. I don't need a new car. I have not bought a boy toy, like a new pew pew, a new, drill or anything. I've not bought that in years. I haven't even bought any clothes except for my branded stuff that I can write off as a business expense in probably 2 years. My kids are all that matter to me now, man. That is my drive for everything. So heck yeah, I'm going to be begging, donate to the kids' house fund. So, any idea when the Vidar skin will be up for grabs again? No, Andrew, but because I get asked this so much, this is actually one of the things that we ask in the next Dev Q&A. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. If you haven't listened to the Dev Q&A that I did earlier last month, we do about once a month a good Q&A where we try to get, I'd say 10 important questions. I mean, we have hundreds of questions, but I'd say the pressing ones we try to get answered coming in each month. And that's probably going to be one of the questions that we focus on this upcoming Q&A to see, can we get them to really answer that? So we'll just see how that kind of plays around when it goes. Any news about Scopely creating a second repair queue? Nope. I wish there was. That'd be fantastic. And I forgot to hit the help button on getting repairs to my Burrell. Whoops. Whole point of bringing the Burrell home was so we could take Picard and Beverly off of it. Here, let's you get out of there. Get out of there, man. You don't even need to be here. We don't even need a bonus on this ship. Come on, bruh. Bleach, that is not broken. Bounty hunters are supposed to come at you when you're in augment space. The premise around that is this is not augment space. This is where the augments are. The augments are illegals. They are criminals, and they're being hunted by bounty hunters. So if you are friendly to the augments, that means that you are also getting bounty hunted. Andrew, technically I do pew pew, but I have not in a long time because of cost. It's a very expensive hobby to have. So very expensive hobby to have. Wrong link. Next up is Billy Leach says that's a bit of a pain. I actually like it. I love being hunted by the bounty hunters because it's one of the easiest ways to auto level ships. You just set them out there, let bounty hunters bang up against them. You get XP every time that happens. It's a very important mechanic that you'll learn to appreciate as you level up, I promise you. Next up is, have you heard the issue of some people losing 1-star Isogen Refinery when the Enhanced Refinery Territory Service is activated? I have not heard that, James. Make sure you put in a ticket, and if you'd like to send me any verification of that, like screenshots and stuff, please do. I'd love to see that issue and take a look into it for you. Next up, is there going to be a realistic way to source Beverly Shards? The most realistic way that I'm 99% confident is coming up is the event store that we'll have at the end of the Next Generation series. Now, how long it takes to get there? Well, you, me, we know equal amounts. But that's the next time I expect, I would say, I don't even want to call it an easy sourcing, but that's the next, like, I feel like almost guaranteed way you'll get a shot at that. I'm running, let's see, Cashnado says I'm running out of researches to do at 29 and I don't want to miss out on the next event's next arc. Should I go up 2 levels? Typically 29s don't miss out on most events. I will say that, you know, fear of missing out, FOMO, is a big issue in this game. Like they really play on that. They really get you to have that fear. So they're always pushing level up. I would still recommend completing your researches, getting your camp done, make sure your ships are where you're comfortable, and then level up. Do you need to follow my strategy to a T when it comes to maxing out certain things? You don't have to do everything that I say do perfectly. I mean, if you feel like you're strong enough to level up on your server and you're comfortable, then yeah, go ahead to make sure that you don't miss out on certain things. That's fine. I still recommend camping at 29 and then getting enough to just go to 35 because I feel like you get the best bang for your buck if you can fly through some of that early stuff. But if you can't, don't worry. You know, whatever is comfortable for you, you know your account better than I do, and make that happen. John says, how do you score in the Parabellum event? Great question. You score the Parabellum event by hitting hostiles. Now, the good thing is the Parabellum event is typically pretty daggum easy for us at level 39. If you have a maxed Chin, which is the anti-energy officer, you can just go kill traders, or if you've got a ship and research, you know, decent enough, you can actually simply go and kill or smash your ship against and lose against the, why am I blanking on the word I'm trying to use, against the heavies. So that's a tactic you'll see people use quite a bit as well. And we'll swap this over here. Group, trying to do many things at one time. And then I need to find Chin. Chin, where you at, girl? Sort by name. Where you at? There she is. Oh, yeah. 2 hostile crews ready to go. Woohoo! It's one of those few times that having those 2 hostile crews comes in handy. Definitely comes in handy. All right, we're going to send this out here. No worry, we'll get to more questions. Let's see. Is there going to be... Oh, I already answered that question. Duh. Have there been discussions on expanding territory? There have been, but not in a while. So what I mean by there have been is when it first came out, some of the preliminary plans were to expand augment space, to rotate the territories, and that way you'd have a little bit of variance and it caused people to not just sit and be stagnant for several months or a year at a time. Haven't heard anything about that in a while. And the last thing we heard is that there was nothing being actively worked on because they were focusing on other projects like the Next Generation. We can only hope that they circle back to that because I do think that territories have kind of been left alone for too long. I feel like that you really need to continue to focus on and work on that aspect of the game. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But that's the answer that you didn't want. Next up... will we ever see the option of changing crew without repairing the ship first? Probably not. Probably not. The whole idea of if that ship is damaged, well, the crew got damaged too, so they're in sickbay. Just get your role play on. Imagine your crew's in sickbay. So everybody get your role play on. Everybody get your role play on. Everybody get your role play on. What? A Bleach guy. So if you're having trouble farming data because of the bounty hunters, there is... I really need one of my moderators here. I made a video, it's probably been 2 years ago. There's a really easy trick you can do to make it to where it'll target your main ship and leave your miner alone. In fact, how about I just tell it to you now? Will that work? Will that work? Okay, I'm just going to show it to you on the screen. Now, because I'm taking the time to answer your question, Bleach Guy, I expect $4 million to be put in my account today. So what you want to do is you're going to use the 2-ship method. So you're going to pick a point in space, say right here. See how it has this little timer? So let's say you have 2 ships that you want to bring. You have your miner ship. So let's imagine my Franklin is a miner, my Botany Bay, and then my warship. So I'm going to see the times. And what I want to do is I want my warship to arrive first. And within 15 seconds, I want my combat ship to come in right behind it. If you come in with 2 ships at the same time in that same window, the first ship will draw a bounty hunter. The second one will not. So you bring 1 ship in. Right behind it, the second ship lands. Then the second ship, your Botany Bay, can just go hop on the node. No big deal. Nobody cares. And the first ship will get hunted. Now, you can either leave that first ship there to get XP from being attacked, or you can just go ahead and warp it home. And if you warp home, your second ship still doesn't get targeted. So no matter what, if you use that little method, within about 15 seconds, you will not get hit. Your second ship will be fine. You can send the first one on home, or you can leave it there to be farmed on for XP. Good evening, Charles. How are you doing? Let's see what else we got. Have you heard anything about the 12-hour bubble glitch? Oh, yeah, dude. We even made a whole video about bubble glitches. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely around. Yep. Especially if you leave miners out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Next up, what we got. What is Parabellum and the requirements other than level 39? Be level 39 and hit hostiles for damage, buddy love. Hit hostiles for damage. Do you think they might have nerfed the rate for Chen from standard officer pools? Nope. Not that I'm aware of, and I don't think that they would. There's no point in nerfing it. I mean, it's not like, you know, most players in the game don't already have her. I think the issue is that because they've added more officers in there, the variance is causing an issue of getting what you need. I think that's the biggest issue. What car would you use for 5 of 10 and 6 of 10 for armadas? Are you asking what other sidecar? Khan? Depends on what you got. That's always the answer. All right, what else we got? Can you go into details about crewing the sarcophagus the best? Yeah, the simple thing is don't waste your time on the sarcophagus. It's a piece of crap. It's literally a waste of your time. Depends on your officers, man. You want to make that thing last as long as possible, or you want to hit really hard up front. So a big hard-hitting up front thing would be like Curon, Harrison, Mud, really RNG based, but if you hit, man, you waylay somebody. Or you want to run a damage mitigation set so that you can make it last as long as possible. Long as possible. So it's, yeah, hostiles in capital space, Greg. It's Sol, Romulus, and I mean the event describes what you got to do, but you're doing damage to hostiles. But Kronos, Romulus, and Sol. Just go hit traders there, and you're all done. Charles says, I've been seeing problems with bounty hunters stopping when another ship enters the system when you hit by a bounty hunter. It can. I typically will use some of the less used systems to help avoid that. Like, my Burrell has been hit several times while we've been sitting here, and I've not had the issue yet of the bounty hunter not coming. There's the bounty hunter right there. Generally, it's the really heavily flown systems that seem to have that issue. I just go to the road less traveled, if you will. What do you do if you got no character to spend transporter patterns on? Stop swiping the credit card so much, because holy crap. Jesus. You wait for more to come in. There's nothing you can do. You just save up and wait. If you use the recall and stop trick once the attacker reaches the spot you selected, it will stay locked. Yeah, you could do that one, Victor. I find that one's a little bit trickier. And I've actually had that one fail on me a couple times. I've never had the 2-ship method fail. Never had the 2-ship method fail. All right, next up here, we've got more questions. And if y'all got them, drop them. Let's see. Where are we? I'm trying to make sure I haven't missed any. Any news on transporter patterns coming soon? You know, I would have already told you, Frig. Everybody's always asking if something's coming. You would have already heard it. It would have already been said. There have been whole videos about it. I don't wait till live streams to give out big news. So no, I've got only what I've already told y'all about transporter patterns. Nothing new. Okay, what level do you unlock the rogue faction? There is a research, generally like level 27 is where you're really focusing on that, but there's a research that you can do that helps you unlock that faction. It is in the, let's hop into our research tree. It is it the galaxy tree? No, I'm questioning myself. No, it's not. It's the one tree about it. Outlaw. It is. Well, I said it was. All right. Now I'm feeling like an idiot. Oh, here it is. Stellar Research. This one. Once you do this research, it allows you to build the Stella. Also gives you the points to start the faction grind in the Outlaw faction or the Rogue faction. To be the most efficient, what tier should you take your level 42 ship if you do not want to spend a whole lot of resources? That's a very generic question, Zoomer. What do you define as a lot? How long are you going to be sitting? How long are you going to be camping? You know, it's just not something you can throw an easy answer at. I mean, generally most people stop on a lot of ships if they're not making it a mainstay, you know, about 60% upgraded, 75% upgraded. So that'd be like tier 7, tier 8 for a Valdor. John says, can you please tell the devs to move the scrap and research buttons out of the interior station view into one of the bars? What are you talking about, putting it up here? Where the refinery tab is? I guess there's no problem with that idea. Sure. I mean, I actually have no problem with how it's currently set up, but it never hurts to shoot him an idea. If anything, I think that would start filling this thing up a little bit too much for me, but so, I mean, cool. Yeah, no big deal, I guess. At what point does Scopely open up the server above 39? I'm on 61 and wondering the time frame. That will vary based on the server. Several things go into that. The server's population, the server's age, how much spending happens on the server. Anywhere from 6 to 12 months. I mean, but with 6 being like the absolute earliest. Like, absolute earliest. You know, you're going on the longer set, more likely. Server 51 is probably the quickest to 40 plus I've ever seen, and they were like 6 or 7 months, maybe 8 months. Let's see what else we got here in the questions menu. Where do we submit pictures of bad crew loadouts? You can either message me on Facebook, on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/RD Pirate Gaming, or on the Discord channel. If you've never used the Discord channel, feel free to jump in. I know not everybody uses Discord, so we've also got that method that you can do on the Facebook channel. Not everybody uses the Facebook channel, which I guess is fine. I was actually surprised that not more people use Facebook. I don't know if it's finally phasing out and nobody's using it, but here's the Facebook. Dell then asks, what determines a server getting emerged? Generally, the health of the server or like the population of it. So the server has gotten too few players. It's not super active. And then they'll look to merge that. So, oh, wow. I feel so bad. I just reloaded and we've got several questions on YouTube, on Facebook that are not showing up in my comment section. Horribly apologizing to y'all. I'm so sorry, all the Facebook people. Jeez, it was not updating. I had to just hit the refresh button and like 10 of them appeared. But I will go through those questions hoping that they're still there to hear them. But big yikes on Facebook there. Okay. Geez, I completely forgot what we were talking about. But server merges, there's not a clear-cut formula, because I know the next question going to be asked is, well, what is a low population server? We've had servers that had less than 100 players, and we've had servers with a few hundred players get merged. So there's not an exact science to it. They've never released what their standards are, and they probably never will. but that is the general rough around of that. So we did have a couple of questions here. Shout out to Big Buzzin' over on the Facebook from an hour ago. Tracy says, is there any talk, or could there be talk about small amounts of prime gas or crystal offered in the ARC with the price of the battle pass? So they've done that before, if you're talking about what I think you're talking about, when they gave out prime officers for free. The simplest way is still going to be scrapping ships, Tracy. I mean, that's still the mainstay of how to go about obtaining a lot of the primes in the game. So it's available out there. I mean, I do agree that they should provide more in the battle pass. I mean, who's going to argue against more? We always like more, but I don't know if they're just going to be giving away primes every battle pass. It's probably going to be a very rare thing that they do now and then. And I can certainly keep pushing against them. There was a dev who I've not talked to in several months who really liked that idea. But you got to remember that there's more than one dev. They don't always agree. They have team meetings about these things, and we can only push the ideas to them and then see what they respond and what they say. Charles says, what level should you scrap ships at? Max. Never do it before max. The scrapyard rewards are based on the level of the ship. So the higher you take the ship, the more rewards you'll get. Max will give you the most possible, and it does scale up pretty significantly. So you don't want to miss out on scrapping. Like if you scrap just a level 41 versus a level 45 D3, you've missed out on hundreds of uncommon. It's not something you want to go and do. All right, 146 and 147 has been a huge success. Conal, I do need to talk to you about that, because if I remember right, 146 and 147 didn't even go through the event. They just got straight merged and then got their event store, and the events ran after the merge. Am I right? I haven't checked in on y'all. I'm in y'all's Discord. I haven't checked in on y'all in probably a week or so. Apologies for that. There's just so many Discords to go through. But if you can give me a quick update, maybe on Discord or something, or just here or whatever, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you do it on Discord or Facebook, I can actually remember it. If you do it here, I'll probably forget it by the end of the video, because, you know, we're working right now. So it's tough to concentrate on 500 thoughts. But, yeah, anyway. What is Rev Deuce's worst crew loadout? Like what's the worst crew loadout I currently have? I mean, I'm running literally a self-destructing crew with Stein out in Apex space just for the heck of it right now, just because I am. What does merging a server even look like? Oh, well, Eric, that one is a little bit too complicated for me to just answer easily, like just straight up. But as you can guess, you guessed it, I made a video. Let me get that link and I will send you the server merge link. Let me get it here. I'll shoot you this video. I have actually a couple videos about server merges. This one is from 3 months ago. So relatively recent. And just give that a watch, and that explains like the process, some of the events, and they've actually made updates to the process since then. And that's what we were talking about with server 146 and 147. If they keep those, then I'll have to make another video talking about how they've updated server merges again. And I think some of the changes they've made have probably been really good changes, I would say. Really good changes. So I'm always trying to update with the latest information that I can. But, yeah. Okay. Oh, I died. Predictable. What's repairing? Oh, the miner's repairing. Cool. Well, they could give one free prime at the end of each ARC series. Well, Frig, the issue with that is then you'd run out of primes to give and you can't sell them. I mean, so I don't know if they'd ever do that consistently. Yeah, if they did that once, twice, 3 times a year, maybe. It's definitely not something they would do every ARC. That's 12 primes. I mean, they would never do that much, even for some like the lesser value primes. You know, there are, and some of the value of the primes will vary. I mean, but like prime damage you get basically for free anyway. Prime hulls and prime shields you can get in the 20s with, you know, uncommons. technically you are getting enough to do these every battle pass. I mean, these are scrap that you can do, but I guess you could talk about giving out prime defenses. But the issue is you could use that 200 4-star rare ore on other things. Let's see. Let's jump to, say, the Galaxy Primes. Prime Officers, they did give away probably the most valuable Prime in the world. I guess they could do the uncommons, but then you got the Prime Borgs. These takes the epics. That's a pain, but that's like way too valuable. They'd never just give that one away, but this one's a good one. They did work on giving that away. I mean, I can see them doing it. I just can't see them doing it regularly is what I'm saying. I can't see them doing it regularly. But I do think that it's a great idea that they had. They should continue with that. But I don't, like, I'm always wanting to come to them with ideas, and I want them to, really pick up on some of the great ideas that the community has. At the same time, I have to be realistic, knowing that they'll never do some things. Like, they're never going to give away free primes, because that's the entire point. And you got to remember that as a game company, they have people above them as designers pestering them like, hey, we need to make this amount of money. We got to do this. So they've got to sell. They can't just make it to where you can, laissez-faire walk through all the things that are paid items in the game easily. There's got to be a work for it. But I do agree that they should still give those away every now and then. Simpy says they gave away Prime Officers accidentally. They did, however, they were still giving away a Prime. The intent was to give away the Prime Borg, which is still super valuable. It's a top 5 value. So even though, yes, they gave it away accidentally, the plan was always to give away a Prime. So it's not like they accidentally gave away a Prime. They knew they were doing it. It's just they accidentally gave away the one they didn't want to give away. So anyway, all that to say, it's a great idea. They need to continue with it. We just got to be realistic in our expectations. It's kind of like I've had people like, why can't we have a bonus refinery every couple of weeks? I'm like, it'll never happen. We can push for it to be more often and more common, but I think we also have to make sure our expectations are realistic so that they don't just get easily dismissed. And it's all about creating compelling arguments and things that they'll want to jump in on and actually, okay. So, all right, we got to go do these real quick so we can finish our Swarm Sunday. I actually think that they are more likely to give away epic versus rare because the one they wanted to give away was epic. Yeah, it depends on the amount fueled in and also which one it is. So the reason, though, that I said probably not that one I was pointing out, because those active nanoprobes. And right now, the most expensive aspect of the game, it's going to be really shocking to hear this. The most expensive aspect of this game right now is upgrading the Borg officers. Because the Borg officer set is probably the best overall set in the game. The Borg officer set are probably the best set in the game. They are also the most financially expensive to upgrade. And it's not even close. We're talking that they charge thousands of dollars for the active nanoprobes to upgrade tiers of an officer. Tiers, not the whole thing. Tiers. So that is something to keep in mind. That is a huge bottleneck, and I'm not, even though that Prime doesn't even improve it that much, it just, as of now, that's the biggest paywall in the game is this. These guys and gals are the biggest ones because they're so unbelievably good. I can't see them just giving that ability away. It's one of the reasons I've got 4 I can upgrade, and I'm not upgrading them right now because I'm saving for other upgrades. 6 of 10 and 5 of 10 are my focus. I'm not bothering with 10 of 10's upgrade. And he's not even that much, but I ain't bothering with that. Yeah, mining speed's cool. Yeah, I need 5 of 10 and 6 of 10 as high as I can go. But that's why. I do agree that there are some primes that'd be more likely to give away than others. I just don't think that that's one of them. But I would be so happy to be wrong. And it's definitely not one where I won't ask. I'll definitely ask for that. So, I'll definitely ask. Go spend the house fund on Borg officer tiers. David, how dare you say something so provocative yet so brave? Actually, no, that's not brave at all. That's horrible. I would feel like such a bad parent if I did that. If I did that, please never donate to my house fund ever again. Never again. If I spend $10,000 on officers in this game, never donate to me again. And you don't have to worry about that because I won't be doing it. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Eric says, the most compelling reason to give away things is to keep player retention high. I bet Scopely has detailed numbers of retention by level. They do, Eric, which is why they don't worry about it. The player retention in this game is pretty daggum high. And I know that's surprising for a lot of people because you hear all the time, oh, this player quit because they're frustrated. we've got servers that are 3 years old that still are nowhere near needing a merge. Player retention is actually pretty high for this game. Now, the biggest issue for this game is that the population is not that high. It's not a super populous game, but the retention is pretty high. And they do track things. They track DAU, which is daily active users. They track the ARPU, which is average revenue per user. They track all that stuff. They have analytics for everything. They also track player retention. But it's just, it's not. No, I don't think that's a huge concern for them. I mean, they opened up new servers when the next generation launched and immediately had tens of thousands of new people. So they're always going to promote. They're really good at marketing. They're not always great at actually the game and customer support and feedback and communication, but they are great at marketing. They know the heck of what they're doing when it comes to money and marketing. So I will give them props for that. I am super frustrated with them about other things, but I can't fault that. Are you ever going to max any factions at 1 billion? Of course, Moose. Yeah, who wouldn't? Yeah, I just there's a timetable that I have set for everything, and it doesn't benefit me to do that now, but of course I will. Yeah, I already know the strategy of what I'm going to employ. Like, I've got certain ships I'm taking to certain tiers, and certain ships that I will do augmented grinding with, so I can work on that. Now I've already got that planned out, but that's a long way away. But of course I will. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to live at 39 forever. I've always said that I was going to take the ship I needed to certain levels. I actually put out my checklist for level 39 plus. And once I get past that, I'll be going up. And the second thing was waiting for the economy to improve. And over the past 3 months, it has improved. It's not perfect, and there are a couple of more things coming. But by the time all that rolls around, I will be going into the 40s. Happy as a clam? Kinda. Maybe not, but still. Yes, short answer. I will be locking 1 billion. Yes, I will. Oh gosh, I'm the biggest dork. Frigoff says I'm a great parent. Well, I don't know if I'd agree to that. There are definitely drawbacks to do what I'm doing. 10 hours, 12 hours in the chair sometimes. There are definitely days where I only see my kids for maybe an hour. But, I think about that. They're 1, they're 4. They don't remember that much at this age anyway. If I can set their future up for success, it's worth it. I don't plan on doing 12-hour days forever, though. I'll tell you that. But I'm going to bust my butt with this business I started now, because it's not just this, by the way. I do football stuff. I've got 2 radio interviews tomorrow for the NFL. It is all kinds of stuff. So you work to support your family. That's what you do. And hey, Q, how you doing, buddy? Are we going to see more Borg officers? Andrew, I think that is a possibility. Yeah. I don't have any definites to give you, but I do think that even though the Borg storyline and the Borg aspect of the game besides probes kind of fell flat, the officers did not. The officers were absolutely loved by almost every player in the game. So I would be surprised if they don't go back to that. That was a well that was very successful for them, and I would imagine they're going to draw from that again. Now, there's not a huge need to do that right now with all the new series out, but as they go through updates and stuff, that's definitely something I can see. Teflon says, how are you doing? I'm from Germany. Server 166 is 2 years old and still very active. I need 5 more parts to unlock Jayla. What do you think are we going to get the chance? Right now, your only chance is by running the Armadas. I don't know of a sourcing opportunity coming up in the near future. I'm not saying it won't happen, but besides being level 40 plus in Armadas and then running the Armada as a leader in the new Armadas, I don't know of any other sourcing plan. So Dominic says, remember, you work too much, you lose your family. I mean, sure, but we'll worry about that when that happens. So we try not to be negative around here. Shout out to 160. Hey, Jeffers, how you doing? But right now, when it comes to Jayla, I'm waiting in the same boat you are. I don't have her yet. I'm short. Let's see how many shards I'm short. I'm definitely more short than you are on Jayla. I am short 12 shards. 12. So, and now we wait. As long as the time you do spend with your kids is quality, it's important. I mean, yeah, today, just to give y'all a kid story, because y'all listen, today my son's guitar came in. He's 4, and he's got an obsession. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it. I can show you if you want, but my guitar, my acoustic anyway, hangs on the wall right behind my stream table. and he'll constantly come into my room and just come play it. He obviously doesn't know what he's doing, but he runs his fingers along the strings and makes sounds, and he gets really excited and he enjoys it. So today I had ordered him a little kid's guitar, like the little 31-inch ones, and it came in today. I tuned it up for him, brought it down, and like his just face lit up. And those that don't know, my son is autistic. So any type of thing that we can get that gets him to really interact and gets him really excited is super powerful. So seeing his face light up and then showing him his little guitar and letting him play it, that was a very quality moment for me. And even though that was only about an hour's worth of time, that was, you know, that's the type of stuff that I really enjoy. And doing this and working with y'all allows me to do that. So, and no, the house fund did not pay for the guitar. That was regular money. But yeah. Let's see. Server 38, I'm triple locked and almost next tier in Romulan. What ROM ship should I go for? Clayton, and yes, Swarmadas can give you Jayla, but it's not definite. Now, when you say next tier of Romulan, what exactly are you saying, Clayton? What level are you at and what ships are you looking at? And I can make a recommendation based on that. Can we expect other Borg Arc? Of course, Marson. At some point, you will get one. You've already gotten a second mini Borg Arc a couple months ago. Now, will we get another full-fledged one? Yeah, you'll probably get one in the future, but I don't expect one until we've flown through all these other things that we've got, like Deep Space Nine and Voyager and all these other series that we're flying through at the moment. And then after that, I would expect for us to go and get, you know, more of the Borg. Because once again, like I said, as a whole, I think most people enjoyed the Borg. All right, what I want. I really need these faction credits. Can I get the independent credits? Probably not, but I really need the credits. I'm going to go for this instead of the badges. And I got Federation. So, yay. All right, we have been live for an hour and 42 minutes. We're going to keep it a little bit longer. Nothing crazy. I do have to bio break in a second, so we'll actually just wait till the end of the stream. Ryan says, no, I do not. Ryan, no, you do not what? Will Scopely get rid of the Borgmata space? No, that'll probably stay. I don't see them wiping it. I mean, they could, but they really, I mean, remember, they just reused the space. Oh, by the way, Anomalous Phenomena is on. Y'all don't let me forget to do that. Remember, they just reused the space. We did whole new tokens to go out here. I still have tokens to run these, but they just redid this and gave us new tokens, remember? So I would be surprised if they wiped this clean. I figure they're going to keep this for a while. I would expect a Borg Rogue filler arc after the next generation to give them time to prep for another 5 months of a different series. Possibly Fielden. That's definitely a possibility. Also, these pay out horrible rewards. Still to this day. To this day! Ryan, if I had a date, you'd already know it, buddy, because there'd be a video. I tell everybody that. You don't have to ask me. You'd already know. You don't have to ask. You would already know. There'd be a video huge on the channel in all caps that said Photon Token release date. You'd already know. Let's see. Thank you for the independent credit video. I have a max con. Just need to upgrade. Very nice, Clayton. Mine is tier 4, but I've not upgraded because I'm waiting for an event to do so. Waiting for an event to dump all that on. But my con is ready. I've got the independent credits. I've got all the XP. Just waiting for an event to come around. 4-star ROM ship? I mean, it depends. The Valdor's okay. The Pilum is amazing, and the Tribune is amazing. So it depends on how quickly you can kind of fly up, depending on what you'd really recommend ship-wise for those levels and those tiers. Jeff, I've told everybody this. I can't tell you to save them or not. I don't know if you're going to have a time wall when Photon tokens come out. I tell everybody that. It's never changed. I don't know if you should save them. I'm not telling people to save them. If you save them, save at your own discretion. Rob says, Server 21, shout out. Preparing to stop camping at 35 and go to 39. What are your suggestions for a checklist to know when the time is right? Got a whole video about that, Rob. Let me get it to you real quick because it's easier than trying to remember the entire checklist. I did an entire going level 40 plus. Here we go. That's 4 months ago. Where is this one? Here's the checklist video. And I will shoot it to you directly, my friend. Not that I'm trying to avoid your question, just it's way too much to answer just right here. because I don't even have the list in front of me. But that's not only my list, but also Ultimate DJ's list, which is slightly different. It was slightly different. Not a lot different, but it was slightly different. So check that out if you haven't. And I just dropped it in the comments on Facebook. If you don't see it, let me know. I'll shoot it to you as a message. Pilum, I'll wait. Thanks. Pilum is a fantastic ship, Clayton. You cannot go wrong with the Pilum. A lot of people argue that the Pilum is probably the third best ship in the game, above the Enterprise A and how it currently is. And some people argue it's better than the Hegtai. I like the Hegtai more. But the Pilum is a fantastic weapon, and you will not be disappointed having it. It's not a problem getting the Valdor, especially with the Parabellum events and the ISS Jelly Brawl, making it easier to source the materials needed. But fantastic ship. No, Andrew, I ain't got anything extra for you. I apologize, but I don't. Do they have a clearer picture of how they introduced the Enterprise D? They do, but they haven't shared it with me yet. I hope to have a little bit more for that tomorrow. I might be live on Twitch sometime tomorrow night. We'll see. I've got a radio interview at 6 tomorrow my time. Maybe at 7 I'll be live on Twitch if I have more information. I can leak some things. I won't tell you specifics, but I might leak some hints tomorrow if I have them. If I don't, well, then we'll just have it Tuesday. So, do you mind Latinum regularly, or you only get it from events? I do not mind Latinum. Generally ever, Doug. I almost never mind Latinum. If I am living in the system, then I'll do it. But unless I'm living in that system, I don't go mining Latinum. Any chance you can speak to Scopely to suggest a start now button for Armadas? Oh my God, Jeffrey. That's never going to happen. I feel like I get asked that more than photon tokens. It's not going to happen. It's not. The entire point of the Armadas is to allow PvP to be available. So if there's a start now button, that would ruin the entire aspect of that mechanic. They're not going to give you a start now button. They might give you slightly reduced timers based on certain things, but you're not getting a start now button. And if I am wrong, well, y'all can just come tell me how wrong I am when it happens. But I've never had a conversation with them that ever indicated that they would lift that. You will always have a timer. That way you have the aspect of PvP. You have the aspect of warp times, allowing people to get there, even though you have Discovery Summoning now. I just don't see it. All right, what does 5 of 10 do best? Literally everything. She's an amazing mitigation officer for defense. She gives you bonus loot. I've got videos about 5 of 10. Sempi, I can send you. She's an extremely good officer, one of the best officers in the game. Arguably top 5 officer in the game, especially in game, one of the best for what's currently at the top. Any way to get free material to upgrade my second Franklin? Scrapping ships and grinding. Lots of grinding to get the probes that you need. Don't forget that if you do have the Franklin A, if you go to your resources tab, don't forget the very end of that, you've got the frequency modulator converter, which allows you to convert old school modulators to the new ones, which helps speed up that process a little bit if you're still doing the old Swarmadas. So, not Swarmadas, the old Swarm grind. Well, of course, PMC is better on hostiles. I would encourage you to go see the video I put out explaining the math of PMC so you can understand why it's better. But nothing compares to PMC except PMC. I mean, it's just nothing ever will. Now, there are some loadouts with 5 of 10 where she's better versus Borg probes, but in general, PMC is definitely better. Definitely better. But like, depending on if you got a maxed out Vidar and you've done your research, 5 Talon Chin will fill you out a lot faster versus Borg probes against 33s, but it all depends. Several different things come into that. So Charles, just like with the other level lock ships, you'll get the parts that you need once you reach the level. You'll get a mission for it. I think I might have the Franklin mission in here. Yeah, right here. So you'll get a mission for it. So once you get level 41, I'll get the next warp relay for the Franklin. So you just get missions for it as you level it up. Do you need to max out the Franklin before scrapping? So you need to get the original Franklin to tier 9, but you only have to get it to level 41. So short answer is yes, you do need to max it. Short answer is you don't have to blow all the experience. You just need to get to level 41. But it does need to be tier 9. It does need to be tier 9. Want to just check these house fund, make sure I haven't forgotten anybody. Give a shout out to Kim and Angela's Bodyguard, who just signed up to be a Patreon to support monthly. Shout out to y'all. Greatly appreciated for that. If you haven't ever donated to the house fund, remember $20 or more will get you your name on the wall of the house once we get it purchased. Everybody's asked to support. Obviously not a requirement. We'll never force you to pay anything. We're not Scopely, but we do appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you so much for supporting me and my children. Y'all are amazing people. All right, what else? What do you think of the Season 2 Lower Decks trailer? Loved it. We'll actually be talking about that in my new podcast I have coming out. Hopefully we'll have that podcast out in a few days. Stay tuned. If y'all didn't know I was doing a new podcast, well, now you do. It's a podcast about Star Trek or any sci-fi, nerdy stuff, comics, games. It's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a lot of fun, so check it out. We'll also, of course, talk about Star Trek Fleet Command, any other Star Trek games, Star Trek TV, Doctor Who, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, anything that's coming out, anything that's going on. We'll actually have a nerd podcast drop. It's going to be pretty dope. Even we'll have special guests. I plan on having writers of different shows on, actors. You're going to want to check it out. You're going to want to check it out. How do you get the Franklin and level 39 warp core? Like I said, buddy, it's all missions. So the warp cores for the Franklin come in missions. And you'll have a mission at the various levels. Once you get there, it'll be rewarded to you. Which reminds me, I got to go do Battle of the Ages. I still haven't done this storyline for that last TNG arc. All right, so speed this up. We'll repair this again, and then we need to repair this and swap it out for our handy dandy Discovery. All right, because I've almost got summoning, y'all. I've almost got summoning. Could you suggest the Section 31 battleship for Deep Space Armadas, please? What do you mean the Section 31 battleship? That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. No problem, Jeffrey. Well, I'm at Ops 39 too, buddy, and I'm currently level tier 2. Tier 2. So how high are you trying to get it? And if you don't have the mission, send in a ticket. Yesterday I found out I don't need a 76 Black Fleet material. I just need one. Yeah. Well, should have asked in our Discord, Clayton. We could have helped you out with that one. If you aren't in the Discord already, please join. If y'all got some questions, throw them in because I can't last much longer. I've got my old man bladder. It's like, yo, boss, you're not 13 anymore. I'll need you to go to the bathroom. So throw in your last minute questions before I wrap up the stream. We've gone almost 2 hours though. It's been a great time. Encourage you once again to check out all the other videos, all the other live streams. Check out the Twitch channel where we're always on there doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and the Discord and the Facebook page and everything and everything and everything and everything. Okay. Does the 30-day loyalty chest rewards ever change? No, right now they do not. It is something that they said that they're going to work on improving. Right now, they're pretty awful because they do not scale up. That is something that has been mentioned specifically about getting better. Scrunch says, say I have a Franklin, scrap it, get the Franklin A. I have a second set of blueprints from the original. Do I need to purchase the second set of warp? Yes. Yeah, they did run an event store one time to provide that, but right now there is not a way to get a second set of warp cores for your original Franklin. So you can't build a second one and then upgrade it. Andrew says, do you keep a running list of recurring house owners? So, Andrew, what I have is I have a list of everybody who's donated, and I update it generally once a week, and everybody has a total amount. And that total amount will then define how far they are. Now, I do keep track of how many times somebody donates. Like, I think the most donations is 9 by one individual to Venmo. But I do track all of that. Now, obviously, I don't share anybody's real name. No financials ever get shared, but that's just so I can track it to put it on the house wall when it gets built. What's the best crew for Vidar when grinding Borg proofs 27 through 30? So you're going to want to grind the 29s, and that's going to be 789 or 759, the Borg crew. And that's assuming that you got like at least a tier 7.5 Vidar. If you got like a tier 6, then you're going to be grinding a little bit lower. But 29s with a tier 7 Vidar, you can fill out the cargo hold with 759 and be good to go, be Gucci. Oh, Jeffrey, I definitely think that the 30-day chest needs to scale up if that's what you were talking about. And what else we got? Any others? Summoning was game changing. Took a while to save up for it. Put off upgrading the disco so I could get it sooner. Yeah, that's what I'm doing too, gaming. There's just other things that I focused on, and I wouldn't say there's a lot of regret there, but I definitely could have already had it already if I wasn't doing other things. But yes, it's definitely a great addition to the game. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna give one last shout out just to the PayPal because Andrew mentioned it. If you'd like to support the channel, we have PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all those different things. We even have merchandise you can purchase if you want to actually get something in return for it. We have a Teespring store. If you want to hit me up for advice, if you need help, if you want to bring in me to help your server, I can do Discord calls with everybody. I'm happy to do town hall meetings. Anything I can do to help make your gameplay better, I would love to. Hit me up on Discord, Facebook, and if you want to support the channel, even if it's $1, doesn't matter. Everything helps out. Y'all are amazing. Live long and prosper, everybody. Stay safe out there, Space Cowboys. I will catch you on the next live stream, which may be tomorrow night. Keep up on my Discord and my Facebook page, and hit me up anytime you have anything. We love y'all. God bless. Deuces.